So today we're covering the last type of translation, or transformation I should say, for a periodic function, and that's the vertical shift. So remember, the amplitude is my half the distance between the max and the min. Come on. Sorry about that. Between max and min. The period is 2 pi divided by the b value. My horizontal, or my phase shift, that's my h, and that's my left or right. And remember, we do the opposite. So similar to our transformations from quadratics and cubics and polynomials. The vertical shift is my k value, and we are shifting up or down the midline. Okay, so the vertical shifts are going to occur outside of the parentheses. So in the first graph, we're looking at cosine of x plus 3. So the first thing that we need to make sure is, what is our amplitude? The amplitude is 1. Okay, so when you have a vertical shift, we're going to take the amplitude plus the k value. That's going to be your maximum. And the amplitude minus your k value is going to be your minimum. Okay, actually, sorry, I had that wrong. I wrote it backwards. I mean, it works for a plus k, but it should be starting with my k value, because that's your midline. We're going to add the amplitude. That's going to be your max. And then we're going to take the k value minus the amplitude, and that's going to be your min. Sorry about that. All right, so in this case, my maximum is going to be 3 plus an amplitude of 1. My max is going to be 4. This is 3 minus 1, and my minimum is going to be 2. So remember, cosine follows this pattern of max, then 0, then min, then 0, then max. So this time my maximum is going to be at 4, and my maximum is going to be at 4. My minimum is going to be at 2, and then I still will hit my midlines. Sorry. So this should be, instead of the zeros, this should actually be my midline. So I'm going to change this. Okay, sorry. Because it's not going to go to 0, it's going to go to the midline. Too many m's. So we're going to go to mid. Mid. And then mid. Okay, so we're kind of going from 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. Then we want to look at my period. My period is 2 pi divided by the b value. Well, the b value is 1, so that's not going to change, which means I'm going from 0 to 2 pi, and then I have pi, pi over 2, and 3 pi over 2. So that doesn't change. So if I go to 0, let's put some points up here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I need a maximum of 4. Cosine normally starts at a maximum, so the maximum is at 4. Then after pi over 2 units, it's going to be at a value of 3. Then at pi units, it's going to be at a minimum of 2. So here's my min at 2. Then after 3 pi over 2 units, it's going to be back up at my midline of 3. And at 2 pi units, it's going to be back up at a maximum of 4. So here is my cosine function. It looks just like my original cosine, only it's shifted up. So my midline is the value of the k value. Okay, Your original function started down here at 1, and it went 1, 2, 1. It looked like this. Okay, so we essentially just shifted it down. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at another one. Oh, sorry, the domain and the range. So the domain doesn't change. It's always negative infinity to positive infinity. My range is going from 2 to 4. That's the lowest it goes to the highest it goes. The period was 2 pi. My amplitude was 1. The midline is y equals 3 because I've shifted the graph up 3. The x-intercepts, there are none because the graph is not going to touch the x-axis. The y-intercept is at 0, 4. Okay? Let's look at number 2. Number 2, I have a little bit more going on. So this negative 2, that tells me that I'm going to have a reflect. Okay. Also, my amplitude is 2. Okay. This negative 4 tells me that we're going to shift down 4. That means that my midline is at negative 4. Okay, so I'm going to take this graph and I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's negative 4. From that value, I need to add my A and I need to subtract my A. So I'm taking negative 4 plus the amplitude. Now, the amplitude is a positive 2 because remember amplitude, it's the absolute value of A is the amplitude. So I'm going to add 2. And I get negative 2, and then negative 4 minus 2, I get negative 6. So the maximum is going to be at negative 2. This is my max. And this is my min. Okay, so if I have sine, which goes from a midline to a max, then to a mid, then to a min, and then to a mid, and then to, oh sorry, too many mids, min, and then back to a mid. Here we go. But I'm reflecting, so I actually need to switch these and the order in which I'm doing it. So the mid, I'm starting at a negative 4, and then my maximum is a negative 2, and then my mid is again a negative 4. Then my max, oh shoot, sorry, I am making lots of mistakes. Okay, let's try that again. Mid, I start at negative 4. Pen's not working. There we go. Then I go to a minimum. So I go to a negative 6. Then I go to a mid, negative 4. Then a max, negative 2. Then a mid, negative 4. Okay. Do I have a period change? So I look at my B value. My period is equal to 2 pi divided by B. In this case, B is 1. So I still have 2 pi. There is no minus anything in parentheses. So there's no phase shift. So I can go from 0 to 2 pi, which means these values are all the same, 3 pi over 2. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and plot these points. So 0, negative 4, I need negative 5, and I need negative 6. Negative 3, negative 2. So there's my mid. I go at pi over 2. I go up to negative 2. At pi, I'm back at negative 4. At 3 pi over 2, I'm down at a minimum of negative 6. And 2 pi, I'm back in the middle. Okay, so I've shifted my graph down, and I've also changed my amplitude. So my domain is still all reals, or negative infinity to positive infinity. My eraser is driving me crazy. Okay, all reals. The range is from -6 to -2, minimum to maximum. Period is still 2 pi. X-intercepts, there's none. Y-intercepts is 0, -4. Okay? All right. Number 3, describe the transformations. All right, so this negative tells me we have a reflection. Okay? The 2 in front of the X, the period is equal to 2 pi divided by 2, or pi. So that means that we have a compression. We've smushed our graph together. And then the -5 tells me that my midline is shifted to y equals -5. So we've gone down 5 units. Okay, for letter B, the 4 tells me that I have a vertical stretch by factor of 4. So that's my amplitude. The pi over 2, because it's minus, remember we do the opposite. So we're phase shift right pi over 2 units. And then the +3, because it's outside, is midline is y equals 3, so that's up. Okay. In number 4, a sound wave can be graphed using the function of -5 sine x. Find the amplitude and the period. So the amplitude is the leading coefficient. The amplitude is 5. Remember, amplitude is the absolute value of A, which is just 5. The period, we go to the B value, which is 1. So the period is 2 pi divided by 1, which is 2 pi. That's my period. Okay. And then write the equation of a cosine function. So we're going to have y equals, and I want cosine, amplitude of 4, period of 6 pi. So period is equal to 2 pi divided by b. B is in the equation, so the period is 6 pi. So we have 6 pi is equal to 2 pi divided by b, which means what we can do is we can cross multiply this to solve for b. So I have 6 pi b is equal to 2 pi, divide both sides by 6 pi to get the value of b. Pi's cancel, and 2 over 6 is 1/3. So this becomes 1/3 x. So this is your equation. Okay. In number 6, write the equation of a translation of 4 units down on y equals sine x. So y equals sine x down, that's a k value. So sine x and then -4. Okay, and there are no parentheses because it's a shift down. All right, last one. Write the equation for a translation of 3 units right. Remember, right is opposite, so we want to use the opposite sign. So if I take y equals cosine of, because it's to the right, I'm going to go minus 3 in parentheses, and there's no other function rules. So this would be my final answer. Okay, so that's just how we can use translations, or transformations, I should say, to rewrite functions given a verbal. All right, happy Friday. We'll see you guys next time for the next video.